Okay, we'll start off from where we stopped yesterday. I'll just give one more extra point on the JDBC batch processing. You have written all this down. Just I'll give one diagram today and one point extra. That's it. See, this is a point. Our rest all will remain as it is. This is what you have written correct. Yesterday you have written it or in the last class. JDBC provides the facility to submit multiple queries at once to the database. Correct. Batch processing avoids multiple calls. That also correct. One extra point what I added is this one. For example, if you want to execute 100 SQL statements, then you need to interact with the database 100 times, which will increase the network traffic between the application and the database server. So instead of sending the SQL queries one by one to the database, you can group all the statements into a batch and send them with one call to the database. By doing batch processing, you can reduce the network traffic between the application and the database. That's it. So this is one point extra what I added, and this is one diagram what you have got for that. That's it. Clear? If you want to send multiple queries like that from application to database, better you prefer batches at one go if you want to send. Done? Okay. So then that's it about batch processing. So we'll continue with the next interface today. Which one? Callable statement. Callable statement. Yes, it is a sub interface of what? Prepared statement. We know this story now, and prepared statement is a sub interface of statement. So these are all interfaces. Fine. See, all these three can be used for what? Used for executing SQL queries. Any SQL query you want to execute, we depend on these three interfaces only. Okay, so we have seen how to execute SQL queries with statement and prepared statement. Today we'll learn how to execute SQL queries with callable statement. Understood? So remember, these are the three major interfaces which you'll be using for writing your SQL queries now. Okay, so now yes, we'll concentrate on callable statement. So callable statement also can execute all your SQL queries. Okay, and but this is mainly used for, callable statement is used for executing stored procedures. There's something called as stored procedures. So stored procedure is a DB concept, database concept. Callable statement is only giving you support to invoke the stored procedure. That's it. So callable statement is simple. So here what you have to understand is what is stored procedure first. Understood? Now stored procedure is a subject purely related with what? Database. So how good you are in database, that easy JDBC becomes now. So today I will give you a small idea about what is stored procedure. Okay, and once you understand what is stored procedure, then we will see how to execute the stored procedure from Java program. Done? So first topic is callable statement, but to understand callable statement, what you have to understand now? Stored procedure. That's how it will go now. Done? So fine. And finally, all these interfaces are there in, yes, we know that, java.sql package. That will continue. Yeah? Fine. So we'll now move to stored procedures. We'll now move to stored procedures. See, the fact is, see, one language like Java calls it as method. Okay, C calls it as function. Okay, so one language has its own terminology. You know what is a function, no? It is reusable logic. So C calls it as what? Function. Okay, and Java calls it as method. There is Pascal, I think, which calls it as subroutine or something. Okay, so they have their own terminology. Now, in SQL or in PLSQL, one more new thing will come now. They call it as procedure. Understood? See, just the terminology now. That's it. C we call it as C++ we call it as what? Function. It's the terminology. Java we call it as what? Method. And as I told you, Pascal, right? Pascal they call it as subroutine. It is their terminology now. Understood? In PLSQL they call it as what? Procedure. Now what is stored we'll see next. But basically what is a procedure? It's a reusable logic, nothing else. Procedure is nothing but reusable logic. So you can write functions in database side also. So means if this is your database, okay, So you'll be having table here. That all is correct. Means table is what? A DB object. Here table is treated as what? DB object. Procedures are also treated as what? DB object. Okay, there are many DB objects. Which are the different DB objects? You have seen tables, sequence, views. Like this, many DB objects are there. Okay, then synonyms. Likewise, one more new which one DB object you will be seeing now? Stored procedure. Understood? So we can write functions. So why do you write first of all a function? Reuse the logic, nothing else. So supposing you want to use some logic multiple times, we'll write it and keep it in one place, and whenever we need that logic, we'll invoke it. That's it. Obviously, when you have a function, the different things which come into a function are what now? Return type, name, parameters, body, and inside the body you'll have logic. But actually basically a method or function or anything, any of these contain 4 parts. What are the 4 parts? Return type, name, in Java, according to Java I'm telling now, parameter and body. So these are the 4 parts. And this is the syntax we follow in what? C, C++ and Java. PL/SQL will have its own style. We'll see it. Understood? So 4 parts. One is return type, 2 is name, return type of the method, means after the execution of the logic, what will it return? Second one is name. Third one is parameter. Fourth one is body. Body of the method we say. Logic will be there inside it. Understood? So first we have to understand how to write a procedure. Understood? See, this is yeah, fine. So this is what we have to do. Here say, now what do you mean by PL/SQL? Full form of PL/SQL, see, first of all, stored procedure is a PL/SQL block we say. First of all, PL/SQL is a stored procedure is a PL/SQL block. Now PL stands for procedure. 1 second. Language, and SQL stands for structured query language. Understood? Now SQL is used for what? Querying the database. If you want to, means if you want to see, end of the day you want values, not write logic. When you want to write logic, what do you need? Values. Okay, now where are the values? They're in the database. So from the database you'll retrieve it, okay, and bring it into primary memory now. So how will you do it? With SQL. So now see here, you have got 2 options. Just understand the clear point here. This is your application now. Now your application can be written using any language, C, C++, Java, that is irrespective now. So one option is, see, you can connect to database, retrieve the values, and you can bring it into primary memory like this. Where? Into your application. And these values you can use it to write logic. So one, you can keep your means logic, whatever logic you want in the application. Or 2, there's one more approach you can take. You can write the logic where? Database only. So if you are writing logic here, what language will you use? C, C++, Java. Here if you are writing logic, what will you use? PL/SQL. Understood? So we can use PL/SQL here. So in the database, if you want to write logic, you'll be using PL/SQL. SQL will be used for what? Retrieving the values. PL is used for what? Writing logic. Understood? PL will be used for writing logic. So means right now what will happen is, see, one option, look at the clear approach what we take here. One is your application makes the request, retrieves the value. After it gets the value, it can write the logic. You can execute your logic here. That is one option what you got. Other option is you will not do that. What you will do is, you will retrieve the values here only. Okay, you will write the logic also here only. Understood? And what your application will do now, it will simply call that function. The application is not going to fetch the values, it will simply call it. As soon as your application calls that method or procedure, technically speaking procedure, that logic will get executed. So here there are a lot of advantages. What are the different advantages? See, in fact, PL/SQL will contain lot of SQL queries. Lot, like you'll select, then you'll process, then you'll update, then you may delete, like that. PL/SQL is nothing but bunch of SQL statements. So instead of doing all that operation, hitting the database, retrieving the value, processing, then updating, then again getting the value, then deleting, instead of doing all that, what you'll do, you'll write it as one logic in one method. I'll show you how to write it now. So simply if you invoke it, now what happens? Everything will execute here. So it has got tremendous performance. Okay, hardly you'll be spending only time for what? Request time and response time. Okay, and the stored procedure, what you write now, it's pre-compiled. They are pre-compiled. They are already compiled and stored in the database. So once you invoke it, only what it will do? Just it will execute. So you're losing time in only request and response. And definitely it gets executed very fast. Understood? So this is the whole idea. Are you getting now where you can write the logic? One is in application side, one is in database side. So stored procedure is a concept of writing logic on database side. Understood? So as and when you start developing applications, you will clearly understand which approach you will take to write your logics. Whether you will write your logic in the database or whether you will write your logic in the application. That is experience now. As you go on developing, you will understand that. But right now you have to understand that these are the facilities available for the developer when you are writing an application. These are the facilities. So which one you will use when, that comes with experience. As you go on developing the applications, you'll get this idea. Understood? So we'll go with this now. So yes, PL is object oriented language again, object oriented programming language, PL. SQL we have covered. We already covered SQL. Understood? Only I have to little explain about what is PL now. SQL we have gone in depth. Understood? So PL will be used for writing logic now, and SQL will be used for querying. And the PL SQL block will be called as stored procedure. Clear? So okay, you'll write it now. Supposingly I'll write one procedure by name procedure 1. So what will Java program do now? Simply it will invoke it. It will say what? Procedure 1, and it will get executed. That's it. So we'll be seeing this now. So first I'll teach you how to write a procedure. Clear? See, for understanding JDBC and all, you should be very strong in database. Please understand that. Don't blame Java for all this. See, stored procedure is a procedure which will be compiled once. It is compiled only once. Understood? And it will be stored in the database server whenever it is created. Okay. Now, stored procedures are database centric. Means entire logic implementation will be done in database. Stored procedure is a PL SQL block. Understood? And PL is used in conjunction with SQL. They are put together. Understood now? So fine. PL is used to process data and SQL will be used to fetch the data. Done? Fine. Now advantages. See, stored procedures are pre-compiled and hence say what? A lot of compilation time. Stored procedures will contain what? Multiple SQL statements. Understood? Then with one stored procedure we can do multiple SQL operations. With one stored procedure we can do multiple SQL operations. Now see this. If you want to execute multiple SQL operations using statement and prepared statement, you have to interact with the database multiple times. This unnecessarily increases the network traffic between application and the database server, and performance will be degraded. When you write a stored procedure with multiple SQL statements, you can reduce the request processing time a lot and also compilation time. Both you can reduce. Request time also you can reduce, compilation time also you can reduce. So whenever you call a callable statement, we'll come to callable statement next, understood? But whenever you call a callable statement, it is ready for execution because stored procedure is already compiled and available in the database. Understood? So straight away we'll see one stored procedure how it looks now. Yeah, today I'll be going to the 11th project called as callable statement. In this I got on txt file here. In that you will find the stored procedure. See, this is how it looks. They have very complicated syntax. Okay. See, create or replace procedure, something like that. As like this you write it. I'll explain you all about this, but this is how it looks. If you compare it with Java, I'll compare it with Java and explain you how it looks. Understood? So this is how it looks. So this is what we have to study now. Understood? So before you understand this, okay, let me explain one scenario here. Okay, then you'll understand this. Otherwise, it's very difficult for you to understand what logic I have written here. Understood? So this is how it looks. Just I showed you for an example. Let's see this. So we'll take one table today. I'll write. See now, you might have a question now. When do we write stored procedure? Why do you write it? I'll give a very small example to make you understand this particular concept of what now. Today, what is the concept? Stored procedure is on concept. Callable statement is on concept, and that is a concept. And we have to see now how Java is going to give support to that. Understood? How Java and database. So database gives you stored procedure support. Java gives you mechanism to invoke the stored procedure with help of callable statement interface. Okay, see there. Now there is a table. Now I'll be creating one table. First query you see, create table student. We'll be taking a new table today called a student. It will have SID, student ID. Then it will have name. Then it will have marks 1, marks 2, marks 3. So 3 columns. And you will have one more column called as total. And you will have one more column called as average. So this is how your table will be there now. So look at the top query, create table student. Understood? So total and average. If you want, I'll put it in 2 lines. M1, M2, M3. Getting it? So this is the table now. So what are the columns now? SID, name, marks 1, marks 2, marks 3, total and average. These are the columns. So in this table, some values will be filled now. So example is, yes, 101, the student name is AAA, is having marks like 40, 50, 60. 102, BBB, 50, 60, 70. 103, CCC, 60, 70, 80. 104, DDD, 45, 55, 60. And lastly, 105 is there, EEE is there, 10, 20, 30 means failed. Understood? Okay. Yes, still we have to calculate this total and average. So this is the table now. My requirement right now is, see, 2 columns are unfilled here. For all the students, I want to calculate what? Total and average. So yes, what are the options for us to write the logic? Let's see that now. You can write this logic using statement and prepared statement also. Okay, means what we do. This is your Java program. Means that ID number will get dynamically from the UI. UI will be there now, from there you will get dynamically. But let's not go with that now. So see, first you'll write select. What you'll write? This is one way of writing logic. What is the logic? How will you write the logic now? Select total, comma, average from student. One second, I'll write it fully clearly only I'll write. Result set RS, because you need the values now. So obviously it is required. st dot execute query select. What will you do? Total, average from student, where SID is equal to, we can go with statement, prepared statement, that's your wish, but I'll hard code now, just simply I'll show you. Understood? Okay, you can use statement or prepared statement, and you have to insert dynamic value. Later on it will happen, that you don't worry now. So once you get the result set, in the result set we will have 1 row, 2 columns. 1 row, 2 columns. So I'll get the values. How will I get? If rs dot next, so int t is equal to rs dot get string of 1, correct? Huh? 1, first column, no? It will be, sorry, we should not select these columns, we should select which column? M1, M2, M3. M1, M2, M3 columns, because the values are there in that column. So then I will do what? rs dot get int of what? M1. Get the marks 1. Int, this is Java program now. A int b array start get int of m2, you're getting it from the columns. Int c is equal to array start get int of m3. Do one thing, declare the variables outside. If you use it local, again you cannot use it outside. So I'll declare these variables outside. Int a is equal to 0, int b is equal to 0, int c is equal to 0, because you'll need these values. So if the result set is true, you are getting the values. Yes or no? So next what will you do? You have to calculate. One more variable I will declare. Int t is equal to 0, int a is equal to 0. Okay. Int x, y I'll take. Or I think it would have been better if I take PQR here. PQR. Let this remain as T and A only. It will be easy for us to identify. That's it. Okay. So fine, we have got it now. So what will I do now? T is equal to P plus Q plus R. That's it now. Now average is equal to T by 3. Correct now? So we are writing logic where now? Application side. Yes or no? I retrieved the values. I got the values now. This value what I should do? Dump it into database. Which two values? T and A. So how will I do it? I have to write again. st dot execute. What will I do? Update you have to do. Good. Update student set. Write the query. Set total is equal to T, means single quote, double quote you have to use. Just I'm moving fast now. Set total is equal to T and average is equal to A, where SID is equal to 101, like this. I'm just giving you a rough idea of how to write the query. This is one way you can do it. So what will your program do now? See, this is your program now. This is your Java program. So what will your Java program do now? When you run this, it will connect to database, fetch the value, logic you are writing here, and then what will you do? Same values you will update it now. So once you do it, yes, whatever the total 40 plus 50 plus 60 is actually stored in what? The variable called as T. So 40 plus 50 is 90, 90 plus 60 is 150. So that value will be updated in total and A value will be updated in average. Correct now? But I wrote two queries. Yes or no? Look, when you go on writing logics, you'll write two queries. Now this I cannot send in a batch. Can I do batch operation here? No. First I have to select, I have to write the logic, then I have to update. Understood? So as you go on writing logics, you'll get the idea. Clear this? So can I do it in a batch now? No. So obviously we'll have to go with what? Two requests to the database. Yes or no? Once for retrieving the values, once for updating the values. So the same, how we can solve the problem, we'll see it with stored procedure. Understood? So you got multiple options. Finally, which one you use for writing logic, that will be decided later. Understood? So is this concept clear to you? You can try doing it. Understood? So you can try doing it. But I am teaching you how to write stored procedure. Should I clear all this now? Yes. So same we want to do now. Yes, that's a procedure about. But this time what we will do is this logic. Okay, you will be writing it in database. This is your database. So I will create on procedure 1 here. The name of the log, which one? Function it is. Any name you want you can give. So that will be created in database. So what will this procedure do? Or logic do? Function. It will retrieve the values. Because this is stable in the database. You have to bring it into primary memory for processing. So in the database what will you do? You will retrieve the values and bring it into primary memory. That is why you will use SQL. So SQL will be used for what? Fetching data. But once the data is fetched, next what will you do? You will do processing. That is PL you will use. So I will show you the PL SQL block now. It will become very clear. Same concept. Let's see this. Create or replace procedure as, see this. This is the name of the function. This is the name of the function. What is this? Parameter. So always see, you are pretty lucky to learn Java. Reason is Java follows what? C syntax. In C, what is the style of writing a logic? A method? In C or C++ or Java, we write like this. It's very simple. So that's why writing a function in Java to learn was very easy. Because Java is following what? C syntax. Now look at the syntax how they write in which one? PLSQL. Same concept. You want to write a function with return type, name and parameter body. But see how it looks. So this is the name. This is parameter. Understood? All these are local variables. They are declaring some local variables as M1 number, M2 number, M3 number, T number. Means variable, name, data type. If I want a local variable here, how will I declare in a Java or C or C++? Int M1, int M2, like this we declare now. Yes, here they declare it like this. So in fact, this is called as technically declaration block. And this is called as execution block, technically. And both put together, they call it as PLSQL. PLSQL block. Both put together. Now see this. Select M1, M2, M3. We are selecting what? From the, these are the columns in database. Select M1, M2, M3 are the columns in the database. Into, what are you doing actually? You are storing it into these variables. From secondary memory you will retrieve, from the columns you will retrieve and put it into what? These local variables. Okay, so here my column names and the local variables names are having same. Reason is I could have used ABC here, but I am following some convention. The column name and these names are same now. Fine. So I select from the database, store it into these local variables where student is equal to, from student, the table, where SID is equal to ID. ID means this is what? You will be sending an argument, no? So obviously it will be accepted in parameter. I will be using this. So we are using SQL for what now? Retrieving values. Okay. So that's what. Then see, T is equal to, I will see, we actually initialized M1, M2, M3 by selecting values from the database. Then I am assigning, means M1 plus M2 plus M3 will be given to what? T. Then T by 3, the average will be given to what? A. Now if you are not understanding what is this, colon, what is this sign here? So you don't have to worry too much. See, it's very simple. In Java, let's compare two languages here. So that's why migrating language is very, very difficult. See, I will compare Java with PLSQL. How it looks. So in comparison operator, in Java is, you know what? What is the comparison operator in Java? How does it look? How do you compare? Like double quote, double equals. But in PLSQL you do it with single equals. So they are having same functionality, but the operators are varying. Luckily in Java what is happening? All operators of C and C++ are working same in Java. So that's why we didn't have headache of learning what? Operators. Understood? Plus how it works in C, plus how it works in C++ is same in what? Java also. Okay. See, that is comparison operator. Now see. Then next we have something called as assignment operator. Assignment operator. So in Java we use single equals, but in PLSQL we use something like this, colon equals. That's what I was doing. T colon equals M1 plus M2 plus M3. Understood? That's an operator now. So I have to learn that language now. That's what I told. PLSQL is itself a different subject. Understood? PLSQL is itself a different subject, and that is in fact learned by PLSQL developers. There's a team, means when a development of a project is going on, there will be a team called as PLSQL developers. So these PLSQL developers, they know this language. So they write the logic. Understood? What do Java developers do now? We'll invoke that procedure, that's it. Understood? So it is that team which will be doing this. So fine. So it's pretty complicated. Third, next, what is that? I'll say concatenation operator. How do you do concatenation in Java? Plus, you know what they use? Piping this. So they are totally different. So that's what I always tell you. Migrating from one language is not to another language is not a joke, because they'll have their own set of operators, their own set of keywords, their own set of libraries. So it's not easy to migrate from one language to another language. Java, luckily what happens is, what operators are there in C will come back here also. Control statement same, what is there in C, C++ here. In Java only what we learn is oops and the different data types, class, subclass. So that is why we saved enormous time in learning Java, because all are copied from what? C, C++ concepts only. So we learned only the different data types and we are learning the library. So Java is very simple because of it is following C, C++ syntax. That's why always we tell now before we learn a language what we look into the language, how user friendly it is. So PLSQL for us it is not user friendly because we are addicted to one syntax. We are addicted to it. Understood? But this is definitely going to be easy for what? PLSQL people, because from the day one they have learned that only. Understood? So these are the people who write this stored procedures. Understood? So our duty will be only to invoke it. Done? So just I gave an idea. So, and writing function also is very complicated here. Look at the structure, how they write. In C, C++, Java, you have this style. But look what they do. Here you don't have that flower brace, opening, closing. So what will you do in PLSQL? You say something called as begin, end. That is actually the, what? You can assume that it is flower brace. Begin, open, and then end means close, like that. So, see, this is how you write. Are you clear with this now? So begin or the whole, see, it is a very simple thing. But writing this, because we are addicted to Java programming, this new syntax will not get digested for us. That's it. Otherwise, if you learn this, this also is very simple. Understood? See, remember, for writing one simple Java function, you have taken so much time. Understood? You might think that, okay, I know how to write Java function today, but you have spent a lot of time for writing what? A Java function. How to understand the return type, name, parameters, body. You put a lot of effort. Same way you have to put effort in learning what? PLSQL, if you are interested to do it. Understood? End of the day, it's not a botheration. Reason is it will be written by PLSQL developers. Fine. So, shall I clear this now? On the top, what I have written? Just I compared both the languages. What is Java, what is PLSQL? Yeah. So now, coming to this point, now see, this is how they write. So again, just revise it. Create or replace. This is how they declare it. We are declaring a function. Understood? Create or replace procedure means if it is there, overwrite it. Create or replace means create it, but if it is there, replace it. Understood? Procedure 1, what is that? Parameter. Means first fact is when I call this procedure, I'll send an argument of type what? ID. In Java, how do you declare your data types? Here parameters int a, but how do they write? ID number. They have their own syntax now. Understood? In Java, how do you declare variables? Int a, but how do they do it? M1 number, first they will declare the variable and then the data type. M2 number, M3 number, that's how they write. So that is their syntax. Understood? So if at all you want to learn, you have to learn their language. Understood? Fine. Now begin, means we are starting the block now. Now see, very clear it is. Select M1, M2, M3. These are what now? Column names into what? These variables, local variables from student, where SID is equal to this value which will come dynamically now. T equals, yes or no? Now addition operator is same. Addition operator is plus only here. So M1 plus M2 plus M3. That will be, sum will occur and that will be assigned to what now? T. This is assignment operator. Understood? A is equal to T by 3. Fine. So then update student, see here. Assignment operator, update, student. Then what will you do? You will update these values. Where you will update into the database. You are updating student. Set total is equal to T, comma, average is equal to A, where SID is equal to. So now what happens when you write this, that when then this, supposing I invoke from Java now or some other application. Now see, stored procedures can be invoked from any application, C, C++, Java, anything, even from C# you can invoke. The application can be anything. All you will do is what now? The application will invoke it, that's it. So when it invokes, what will happen now? The procedure, PLSQL will get executed now. It will fetch the values from the database. Yes or no? Internally it is executing now. Okay. And it is pre-compiled. Once you run this query now, it is pre-compiled. It is only going to execute now. So it will fetch the values. Why? Because processing cannot happen in secondary memory. So it will retrieve it from secondary memory and bring it into primary memory. But all is happening where? In the database. So then the average will be calculated, then it will be updated here. So now imagine how fast it will be now. So we are not getting any value into the application only. Understood? So performance will definitely increase. Understood? So one option is which I showed you. I can write one program, the previous one, how I can connect to database, retrieve the values, then write the application logic there, then that new values, whatever is there, total and average, I'll update it into database. All that we can do. That's one option. Other option is what? This one. So you can do like this. Are you clear with this? So this is one concept now. Yeah. So this is how you write it. Now, this is how you write it. Now see, I am showing you two stored procedures. One stored procedure which will not have any return type. Means one function without any return type. One more function with what? Return type. Understood? So simple. Same it is. But this time, when my application invokes the value, all that logic will execute and it will return two values to my application. Which are they? Total and average. See, my application has to invoke it. Next, again, I need that value, no? Total and average in my application. So it will have return type now. How do you have return type? See, it's very simple. How do you declare return type? In Java, what do? You say return, something like that. But here what happens is, you do like this. Create or replace everything same. But what is the name? Procedure 2. And look, here what we do. Is it visible? In ID number. Okay, means I am using one more thing here, in. If you don't write it also, by default there are two types of parameters here, in parameter, out parameter. That is the terminology. In parameter means it will accept the incoming values. Out parameter means it is return type. If you don't specify, by default it is in only. On the top did I specify? I just said ID number. Look in the first procedure, ID number. By default it is what? Incoming value. Okay, but here this time I am saying what? ID in number, optional. If you remove it also it will work. Understood? But this is mandatory. T out number means T is a variable name. You are declaring on variable. Out is the return type you are telling. Means if your application invokes this value will be given to your application. Understood? And number means what? Data type. Same way. A out number. Average also I am returning. Everything remains same as M1, M2, M3. But only previous stored procedure T and A were declared here. T and A were declared what? In the declaration block. Like this. Means if you do it like this, it will become local variables. But if you write it there, see, previous stored procedure, in procedure 1, T and A were declared here. So they are local variables. You cannot return it now. If at all you want to return the value, you have to specify it like this. T out number, A out number along with your procedure like this. So it is their syntax. This has got nothing to do with Java. If you are really interested in all this, go and study PLSQL now. I just gave you an idea of what is PLSQL. Our duty as a Java developer is to only invoke it. Done? Just I gave you an idea what is PLSQL. So done. Are you clear with this? So everything is remain same. Select, update and all that. So I will show you how to run this which one? Stored procedure and create it in the database now. So first I will create what? The table. After creating the table, I will create the procedure also. Then we will invoke it. Clear? That time if you want to invoke, statement and prepare statement will not support you. What will support you? Callable statement will support you. So that is where callable statement becomes important. So now see. So connected now, see this, I will run the queries. So all these queries I will copy and paste there. So if you are executing your query, keep all your queries in a single line. Where? In Apex. Understood? Otherwise sometimes it will not execute. Again it's taking to next line. Okay, fine. Table has been created. Understood? Just run the queries. The table has been created now. I'll just show you. So this is the object browser. Browse. Earlier there was no table by name student. So now the table has got created and you can see the data. There is no data. So I'll fill the data now. And now let's go and check the data there. Yeah, you can see the records. So total and average has to be calculated. Done. So this is tables. Now what I'll do, see here, I'll just drop down here. You can see there's something called as procedures. Right now there are no procedures. Yes or no? So I'll create two procedures. What are the name? Procedure 1 and procedure 2. You can create with any name, that's your wish. So I've already written it. So what you do is just execute it. So this will be the procedure. Same way, select everything, run, and the procedure will be created. Now if you want to go there, refresh, procedure 1 is there. So it is compiled now. Every time you invoke it, it will only execute now. Understood? So one more procedure I will create with what? Return values. I'll go and check. So refresh, you will have procedure 2. If you click there, it will give you the description of what that procedure is. What it is doing full, it will show procedure 2. So fine. Anyway, now we'll come back to our tables. Clear? So we are having two tables here. We are working with what? Student. Correct? So fine. So procedure is ready now. So what we have to do now? From the Java program we have to invoke it. So now callable statement will come. Understood? Now callable statement is a very simple concept if you know what? Database. PLSQL and all, if you know, callable statement is a very simple concept. So let's see how to invoke it now. Clear? So remember, stored procedures can be executed by any language application. Understood? But I am showing you how to invoke a stored procedure from Java language. Okay, and JDBC is giving you support to invoke stored procedure with the help of callable statement library. Understood? It is giving you the support from callable statement. That's it. See that? Now callable statement, 2 minutes, you'll understand. So how will you prepare call? Con dot, what is the method you'll call now? Prepare call, that's it. Instead of saying con dot create statement and con dot prepare statement, because this time I want to execute stored procedure, I'll call which method now? Prepare call. The return type would be what? Callable statement. Everything is same, there's no change. Everything remains. You have to load the driver, you have to get the connection, everything remains same. And see, but you have to put it in flower braces. You have to put it in flower brace like this. Understood? And here I am using placeholder. So callable statement also provides what? Placeholder mechanism to insert values dynamically. You are clear? Declaration block, execution block, both put together is called as what? PLSQL block. Yes. So that's it. 1 comma, I'll give some value, I'll give 101. Any number you can give. It's your, okay, I'll give it as 102. In fact, this value you can get it from keyboard dynamically. Scanner you can use and get it. Okay. So that's it. And this value 1 comma 102 means there's only one question mark now replaces it. Okay. And when you run this program, what will happen? Your Java program is just invoking it. More than that, it is not doing anything. How fast it can be? Imagine. Value C, your application is only invoking. Values are retrieved in the database only, in the primary memory. Then logic will be executed. And then what? It will be updated here. That's it. Everything happens on database side. So isn't it going to have a tremendous performance now? Understood? So like this, you have to decide how to write logic. So what happens is huge complicated logics now, they are generally written using stored procedures only. Huge complicated logics, they'll be written using what? Stored procedures. Small logics we write on application side, this side. But complicated logics we write on what? Database. It's preferable to do that because your application performance will increase. And that is with experience you'll understand as you go on working in the industries when to do what. Right now, see, till now I have not shown you how to write logic on application side. That from next class we'll start off, we'll be doing that only. Understood? From next class what we'll be doing, we'll be writing complete logic on application side only. Understood? But today I'm showing you how to write application logic on database side and invoke it from your application. This is the last. From next class we'll be fully concentrating on writing logics in application side. That time it will become very clear to you. So done. So now fine. Now how do you invoke? But use the flower brace. This is a syntax. In flower braces you have to write what? Call. This is how you invoke it. The syntax. This is SQL query. This is SQL query. Understood? Call procedure 1. If you want, you can hardcode value. See, directly you can hardcode value. What? 1 or 2 can be done. That will also work. But that's become fixed value now. Every time you run the program, it will try to calculate total and average for only 1 or 2. That's why I'm using placeholder mechanism. Understood why you use placeholder? To insert values dynamically. Are you clear with that question mark now? That will also execute. Definitely it will execute. I'll show you after this. Fine. So 1 or 2. I'll set the value and I'll call it. Now see the second procedure. How do I invoke it? Same syntax, but there are 3 question marks. Why? 1 in parameter, 2 out parameters. 1 in, 2 out. So I have to use 3 there. So I'm using it. Fine. So fine. See this. What you will do now? CallableStatement 2.setInt. First question mark. What is that? It is in parameter. So you are sending the argument. See, this is argument. For the procedure, it is in value. For the procedure, it is in value. These 2 will be what? Out. Means it will return to your application. So how do you do it? And now see this is what you have to understand. From Java program, whenever the values are entering the database environment, this more I'll be discussing in the next class, tomorrow's class. When a value is going from Java to database, yes or no, string, I was inserting into what? Varchar. String is in Java, but it will be inserted into what? Varchar. Int is in Java, it will be inserted into what? Number. So who say every language has its own style of representing the values. Int in C is what? 2 bytes. The same int in Java is what? 4 bytes. Means if I say int I is equal to 4 in Java, it is represented in a different style. The same int I is equal to 4 in C is represented in a different style. Int I is equal to 4. I'm just giving a value, 4 or 5, anything you give. So in C language, it will take 2 bytes and store the value. But in Java, it will take, in C, it will take 2 bytes and store the values. Which one? For the value of 5, it will be stored in 2 bytes. But in Java, the value of 5 will be stored in 4 bytes. Understood? So that they have their own representation. Similarly, see, you are sending from Java environment to database environment. Yes or no? So value remains same. You take any language. See, this is C. Int I is equal to 5. It has its own style of representation. The same I can write in Java. Int I is equal to 5. Value remains same, 5 only. But the way it is represented is different. Similarly, when I send string from Java to database, it will be stored. But the way it is represented is different. Till now you have not observed all this. So when you are sending values from your environment to database environment, it is totally different environment. This is Java environment, this is SQL environment. We have to take care of all that data conversion and all that. So many problems are there. But fortunately for us, we are not bothered about doing anything. Why you know? Yes, the DB vendors will take care of all that by implementing that logic in driver class. So next class I will be talking more on driver. There you will understand. Here is where driver becomes very important for us. You know the driver class, no? Which is the driver class? In that class, they have written all the logic to do that data conversion and all that. So we are least bothered. So whenever a value goes from Java to database, blindly it will do the conversion. You don't worry about it. So now, ulta is happening. You are expecting a value from what? Database into your Java program. Because we are calling the procedure 2. In procedure 2, what's happening? 2 values are coming into our program now. So we have to tell what type of a value it is. So we'll tell now. register out parameters on method, I'll tell the second placeholder is of type what? Integer. Like that, types. Now you have to understand Java. This is pure Java now. What is types? According to Java, what is types? Basics. Class. What is integer? Constant. So like that, types is a class where in SQL package, in the types SQL it's a class in SQL package. In this package, in the SQL package, types is a class. In this class, there are many constants defined. So if you are expecting a return type as string, you'll type it as what? Types dot string. If it is decimal, you'll type types dot decimal, whatever the value, float or double, something like that. Understood? So always you have to register it, so that whenever the value comes from the database into your Java program knows how to do the conversion and it will have the value. So what after that I'll call what? cs2 dot getInt of 2, getInt of 3. Now it will do the conversion and give it to your variables. So it will retrieve the values. It will bring it into the program. It will then finally when you say getInt or whatever it is. So these are methods where now we are learning all the methods of callable statement today. Understood? So when I call these methods, yes, from which one now? 2 represents what? Second question mark, 3 represents third question mark. So I'll get it because they are out parameters. And now I'll get it into my Java program. So in procedure 1 we are not getting values. In procedure 2 we are getting the values. That's it. Understood? So like this, I just gave an example how to have how to write a stored procedure without any return type and how to write a stored procedure with 2 return types. That is optional. I'm done with this now? Yes. So let's execute this. So when I run this program, for 102, the total and average should be calculated, as well as for what? 103. That's it. So it's all about invoking now. So more you know PLSQL, more you know stored procedure. Callable statement is a very simple thing now. Understood? So that's what I keep telling you. Before you learn data, which one? JDBC, be perfect in database first. How good you are in database? JDBC is giving you support to work with that. That's it. Yeah? Okay. So let's run the program. That's it. See, after getting the values, what I'm doing? Printing it now. Value of Q is. Anyway, you can again use what? Execute update method, execute method, any methods you want, you can use now. Catch, finally, close all the resources. I'm not using any results set here, I don't require it. So I'm only using what? Connection and callable, close both the resources. So right now, this is how your records are there in the database. I'm just going to invoke now and both the procedures will be executed. Clear? See now. Done. Value of P is 1. Value of P is 1 means first procedure. Understood? Value of P. For second means because it's affecting one row. Execute update will always reflect what? The number of rows getting affected. Only one row. Select is not affecting row. Only update will affect the row. So one row is getting affected. Same way, value of keys. So that is okay. But you can see now total marks is 210. Average marks is 70. For which person? 103. And let's see what has happened now. Here. Refresh. You can see. Average and total has been calculated. This you could have written using statement and prepared statement also. Before the class I gave you that, which one? At the beginning of the class. I just gave you the logic, how you can do it with statement and prepared statement. That way also you can write, this way also you can write. Option is in your hands now. In fact, the team architect will be taking decisions on this. Generally he takes decision when there are complicated logics to be written. So he'll be doing it on database side. So as a developer, what do we do as a Java developer? We should know how to invoke the procedure. Understood? So that's it. As simple as that. Clear? Okay. Now one more I'll show you. I told you I'll hard code and show you. Yes or not? Let's see this. I'll do it for 101. Let us comment everything. All this. Or you can do it this for what? 104 also. So right now I'll do it for what? 101 and 104. But okay. This will comment. Here I am sending placeholder. Here I am hard coding. So what will I do now? I'll comment this now. This is also valid. You can hard code. But problem is you can't replace dynamic values later. At least it will execute. Still it will execute. Not a problem. But don't hard code. Try to bring with dynamic values. Placeholders only use. I recommended to use placeholder. Done? That's it. Nothing more in callable statement. So callable statement was hardly 2-3 minutes. Understood? So what you have to understand now, how much of PLSQL is important for us. See, when an application development is happening, okay, or I'll come to that point later. First we'll complete all this. We have discussed stored procedure, na? Yeah. You know this code now? Yeah, right now what's happening? This is your application, yes? So what did your application do? Did it fetch the value? Did it write the logic? The whole logic is what now? Database side. Whole logic is kept on the database side. Your application is just invoking it. And those stored procedures, okay, can be invoked using stored procedures can be invoked in any language application. That you remember. Any language application. I showed you in Java. Understood? This is very crucial. You can invoke it in C also, C++ also, Java also. Which language you know? That is your ability now. But in Java, damn simple. Hardly you'll write how many lines? 3 lines. Doing it in Java is very simple. Class.forName, connection con.prepare call. That's it, 3 lines, and your procedure is executed. What more do you expect in Java? Can you think of doing this in C language? You know, most of you know C language. You know database also. Yes or no? In your resumes you'll put no. Languages known. C, C++, Java. Database known. MySQL, Oracle. So do it now. Let us see. Understood? So doing these things in other languages is pretty difficult. But in Java it becomes very easy. Hardly 2 lines, 3 lines you'll be writing. Class.forName, connection con.prepare call. Connection.prepare call. So parallelly we are seeing many methods now. One in connection, callable statement, and types. Types also I'll show you. Types class. Understood? So depending on your out parameter you have to register it. If it is string, register as string, like that. That's it. Nothing more here. Understood? So just I'll show you the documents now, and we'll see. See, first we'll go into API. First API, then all this story will start. Yeah, which one you want? Connection, no? First we'll start off with connection in Java. Now open this document. We'll go with this java.sql connection. This is the interface. Click. So con.create statement you have seen. Then you saw prepare statement. Now you are seeing prepare call. Understood? We have seen prepare statement like this. It's all about exploring library. Okay, it's all about exploring library now. Yeah. So then, next after that, which one we saw? Callable statement. So in callable statement, we saw some methods. Go through. I think I used, see, if your return type is date, you'll say get date, register it like that. Understood? Get double, get float. These are all having methods. I used actually which one? Get int. When you're having out parameters. Like that you'll register. And then next. Like that you go through. Then next one is types. That was the new class what we have to see now. It's a class. So it will not be there in interfaces. Scroll down. Types is a class now. See here. There are so many constants defined. Array, big int, binary, bit, blob, boolean, char, clob. But I used integer. Like that slowly when you write stored procedure, you'll be registering the return types. Okay, these are constants. See this. So Java is all about not writing logic, calling methods. sending correct arguments. We don't write logic in Java, that's it, remember that. So this is how it has been designed. Pretty simple. It's all about observation, guidance, and little of your hard work. Intelligence is not required to code Java. To call methods, to send arguments and all, I don't have to 90%, 80% and all that. I just need what? Some common sense, and I should know which method to invoke, how now, what are the arguments I have to pass. That's it. So here, see, I might have invoked a stored procedure, but did I write any big logic here? We are only bothered in calling method. So this is what is Java programming. This is actual programming. And next class, I'll be talking more on how all this works internally. Till now you got the output. Next class will be very interesting, where we talk about how all this logic gets executed. But we don't have to bother, because it is, we should know the word now, abstraction for us. Yes, but still, how it is happening, we'll learn it. Just curiosity purpose. Yeah? So we'll be discussing that. So this is what it is. So I explained you the API now. Yes, I explained you what is stored procedure. These are some notes. Okay. So shall I clear the table now? You got the idea? So like that you can update for all the users. And now don't think always stored procedure will be used. Scenarios will be there. I just gave you created one scenario like this and gave an example for what? Stored procedure. I just created it. Sometimes you'll be writing logic using statement also, repeat statement also, callable statement also. So don't take decisions. Okay, I'll use this and I'll use this, or this will be good, that will be good. Don't take decisions like that. Depending on your situation and scenario, you should know now what to use for executing your SQL query. Understood? That is pure experience now. As the scenario comes, you'll understand. Here I gave you a scenario. In this scenario, callable statement was more feasible. Next scenario will come. There, statement would be feasible. Another scenario will come where prepared statement would be feasible. Done? Yes. So now we'll finish off with callable statement. What is callable statement? It is a interface available in java.sql package. It is extending prepared statement. It is used to execute stored procedures. You can execute normal queries also, but will not do that. Generally for normal queries will depend on what? Statement, prepared statement. This is mainly used for executing stored procedures. Okay. Now following is the way. I showed you one approach. There is one more. You can send to int. Result set type, result set concurrency. Okay. Leave that. Now one callable statement object can be used to execute what? That is the problem here. It can also execute what? One callable statement can execute only one procedure. Now CST1, yes or no? Can execute how many procedures? Callable statement 1 is there. It will always execute what? Procedure 1 only. It's same like prepare statement. One prepare statement can execute only one type of query, no? Same way callable statement can execute only one procedure. Fine. So it also provides what? Placeholder mechanism, and following is the way to invoke it. This is how you will invoke it. Procedure name, you might have placeholders, and you will invoke depending on in, out, whatever it is. If it is out, register it. If it is in, see, from Java to database, don't bother. From database to Java, register. That's it. With following is the way program executes. How does it execute here? Understand. First look at the diagram. Stored procedure is already compiled. It is already pre-compiled. It is also pre-compiled and ready for execution. Just executes every time stored procedure is invoked. Application will invoke now. It will execute. That's it. So total time for any request would be what? Request time, execution time, response time. Only this much time it will take now. Okay. I have added 5 plus 25, assuming that there are 5 SQL queries. In the PL/SQL block, in our PL/SQL or in our stored procedure, there are only 2 queries: select and update. Yes or no? In our stored procedure, how many queries were there? 2. See this. This is my stored procedure. How many queries are there? So assuming that there were, one is select, another one is update. So assuming that there were 5 queries, then you see now, it would take how many seconds now? 25 seconds, because all the 5 queries are what? Compiled. Only you have to execute it. So it will take this much. Assuming that the stored procedure is having 5 SQL queries. Done? I think that's done with this. So I gave you this notes also, I think, no? This has been covered, and this is it about stored procedure. Now let's compare all the three. One table I have prepared for you to understand. It will summarize the whole thing. Difference between statement, prepared statement and callable statement. Yes. Executing SQL statements, normal. You can do it with all the three. Statement, prepared statement and callable statement. Executing multiple SQL statements with single object. That is possible only with statement. It is not possible with prepared statement and callable statement. Now compiling and executing the SQL query every time. Yes, statement will compile every time and execute. But prepared statement and callable statement will never compile and execute every time. The same ulta I am telling now. Compiling and executing every time means pre-compiled. This is no. But these two are yes. Ulta, that's it. Now executing stored procedures, no, no, yes. Providing placeholder mechanism, statement does not give you, but these two will provide you. Done now? Simple now. So excellent support you got for working with database now. Okay, so now finally, how far should a Java programmer learn PLSQL development? Or is it really required that a Java developer know some guidance to you? Java developer, should he know what? PLSQL programming. Because again you start thinking, should I have to learn or not? See, in IT industry, how much you know it's good. There's no boundary. Because sometime you're working on this, sometime you're working on that. They'll tell just move, and you should be able to move now. Okay, but you don't have to put full effort and learn PLSQL now. That you'll learn gradually when you enter the companies now. How much of database is really required? That much I covered for you. Understood? How much of database is really required for entering in an industry and all that? That I covered for you. Gradually, you'll start learning it in the industry, and that is what we talk versatility. Now, see, a Java programmer can move to PLSQL, but PLSQL person can never come to Java. We talk about versatility now. In the introduction class, I told you how versatile a Java developer is. See how fast you learn PLSQL, at least to one level. But can those people learn our Java language like this? Practically impossible. So they can't do it. Understood? We know how to write that, how to execute now. It's very simple. In one day, we wrote on small program only. That they cannot do. So these are the benefits a Java developer has over other people. So if you are in Java, you have got enormous life. Your lifetime is more. You don't have end of life. But if you are PLSQL now, you have end of life. Supposingly in that project PLSQL program is not required, then you are waste. Understood? So that's why Java has got tremendous growth, because you can migrate from any stream to any stream. You can work as a tester, you can work in PLSQL development, you know how to create tables, you know how to design tables. So we are 1,000 times better than what? Anybody here. Even we are better than, because we know how to create tables better than them, because we look into the UI. Based on that, we start thinking now, and we know what exactly logic is required for the application. Based on that logic, because we are Java developers, we know how to write good logics. We can write, if we make up our write, better than PLSQL developers. Understood? So these are ability. I'm not saying we are the two genius people here, but we have the versatility to move here and there, and that is what makes you live long in the IT industry. Okay. Otherwise, what happens is it's very difficult to survive. See, entering company is one side, survival is another side. Understood? So for surviving, all this information is very crucial, because you should know how to, there's something called as marketing. You should know how to present yourself. Understood? Even though you don't know anything, you should be having the ability to present that I know everything. So this is what I'm trying to do. All this, if I give you information, it gives you more confidence. And anybody questions you, do you know that? Your face just brightens up, and you'll say, yes, I know it. Doing it later. But if you don't know only, your face goes down. Okay, but if you know something, your face brightens up. And it is this confidence which will actually get you the job in the interview or IT industry. Understood? So confidence is more required. So keep coding and start getting output. Look at your confidence, and when you enter the interviews now, it is very easy to clear because of confidence. And why did you get confidence? Because of knowledge. You have got sufficient knowledge now. So till now you are not having knowledge, and that is why you are having low confidence. Now you have got knowledge, you have got high confidence. Very simple. Understood? So don't go and practice full PLE skill today. Just how much I covered is more than sufficient. After you enter IT industry, you'll start understanding that by yourself. Done? That's it.